All right, guys, in this project, we're going to be using different selection tools to create an image similar to this. Now, yours doesn't have to look exactly like mine. You can select the objects and arrange them differently, but I do want you to incorporate all the images provided. We're going to start out with this image of the model here, and let's show you where to go and get the photographs. So if you go to my website, you go to selection tools, you'll see this image here, and then we've got all these photographs down here. If you click on the download file, it seems like the photographs are now opening up in Chrome. And what you need to do to save them to your computer is right click on it and then go to save image as. Now, if you are using the trackpad on the computer, it's the bottom right corner of the trackpad. You click on that and that brings up this dialog box. So again, you may be getting the zooming in, just right click on it and save image as. I would save it into your download folder and click save. I already have them, so I'm not going to do that. I would go back and then go on to the next one and just repeat the process. So here they are in Photoshop, and I want to show you, you can rearrange your palettes here in your workspace. Once we start getting in towards the end of the project, you're going to have a lot of layers. And what you can do with your layers palette is you can drag it up over here into the Learn palette, and you can go over here to your libraries and close that, and then we can see all of the different layers. So let's go back to the first one and get started. We're going to be doing, it's kind of a little bit of review, and then moving forward, we're going to be using the object selection tool. So if you hover over, you'll see it gives you a little preview. You draw a box over the object and then it does the selection. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, you want to make sure that you're doing a box that's all the way around her. So we need to start right about there and drag all the way over. So this tool does a really good job of selecting her. At this point, let's just go ahead and put a mask on this. And so she's removed from her background and we're ready to move on to the next image. Let's go on to number 2 here. So let's go back to that object selection and make a big selection right here. Let's go ahead and apply the mask and see how it works. So this one's pretty good. There's a couple little things, missed some spots. I'm zooming in, Control plus. So I'm going View, Zoom in, Control plus. Once I'm here, I hold the space bar, it brings the hands up, and I can move the image around. So let's go back and use the lasso tool. We used that on our last project. And let's trace around the flower here. What I want to do is get rid of that little gravel that's behind the plant. I'm already on the mask, so if I go to my brush, let's make that brush a little bit smaller using the square brackets. And I can just brush that away. To get rid of my selection, I can go select, deselect, or Control D. So let me use that lasso tool. Again, the keyboard shortcut for the lasso tool is L. And I'm just going to click and drag and make a selection right here. It may not be the most perfect, but okay. Then I pushed B to go to my brush, and I'm brushing that away, and then Control D. So I cleaned up a little bit of it. I'm just going to go ahead and move this over right now. I went to my Move tool. The keyboard shortcut for the Move tool, funny, is V. Doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's what it is. So I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to drag it into here. Now when it comes in, that's not too bad. It's not too big, but I do want to scale this down. So I'm going to go Edit, Free Transform, and you'll see that it also says Control T. So on my keyboard, I can just go Control T, and now if I grab the edge, actually this is a nice feature of the new Photoshop. You don't have to hold Shift anymore to keep the proportions correct. Actually, when you hold Shift, then it does that. But by default, it keeps it in the nice proportions, which I like that feature. I press Enter to set it, and then I'm going to move it over. Let's go to number 3 here. For this one, I'm going to go back to my object selection tool. This one, I pretty much need to have the whole image selected. And then let's go ahead and apply the mask. All right, let me zoom in here and see how we're doing. I'm going to introduce a new tool to you. So underneath the lasso tool is the magnetic lasso tool. And this tool is pretty neat. It just kind of follows the lines in the edge. You do need to set anchor points, or sometimes the lines will the selection will get away from you. Kind of saw there, it kind of goes away. That part wasn't so good. And that's where the tool gets kind of frustrating. So that was actually kind of a good example. It makes a selection, and okay, now it cut into that. Control D deselects, and let's get a hard edge brush, and I'll clean up that edge. If I push X, so depending on if I want to brush away, I've got black as my foreground, and that takes away from the mask. If I flip back over to white, then I brush back in because I'm working on a mask. If I want to switch those using the keyboard, I just push X, and you'll see that my foreground and my background colors change. I could either be brushing away, or if I push X, I flip back over there, and now I'm filling in. Okay, so let's do the lasso tool. I'm going to press L, magnetic lasso, and I'm just going to do one more. So I got to set those anchor points. You can see how it gets the selection kind of wants to move around and find stuff. So I pushed my B on the keyboard, then went to the brush, and if I flip it back, now I'm brushing away. So I push X to switch between the foreground and the background. Control D gets rid of my selection. All right. Lasso tool. And then the brush. Okay, Control D. Zoom out, and let's go to the Move tool, V, drag and drop. Okay. This one I'm going to do a little differently. I'm going to switch over and use the Magic Wand tool. So I'm going to select the white, and then I'm going to go select. So I've selected the background. Now I want to select the flowers. Select inverse, and then mask it. So now if I go to my brush, I'm on the mask. Okay, so because I'm on black, I'm brushing away. Let's push X, and then I'm going to go in there and fill in that space. So this is probably going to get put behind something. I'm not too concerned if I'm missing if the selection is a little off. Let's just go ahead and bring it in there. Well, that came in pretty small. Okay. Now this one, we're going to do another new tool. I'm going to go select color range. This is kind of neat. So I'm going to select the sky, and then it makes a selection there. So what I want to do, because I selected the sky, I want to have the flowers. I'm going to go select inverse and then mask. Not bad. Let's go to the Move tool and drag this one over. Whoa, that came in really small. Let's try that again. All right. So drag it in here. There we go, much better. Okay. I went through and cropped the image. The resolution was pretty high, so the images were coming in a little too small. All right, so let's move on to number 6 here. This one, now you guys can kind of experiment. Let's see. I'm using the Magic Wand tool. I've selected the black. Let's go select inverse and then mask it. Okay. It's kind of got a fringe around it, but I think it's going to end up being pretty small. Well, actually, when we finally are done with it, it's going to be rather small. This came in very large. So what we're going to do here is go Control T. That's going to allow us to scale it down. Now, sometimes you'll do that and you're like, man, I can't see the transformation box. Control minus, zoom out, and then hold Shift and bring that over here. So actually, this is going to need to be a lot smaller. Or maybe even smaller. You can start to bring these things and put them beneath the model. If it's starting to get cluttered, I'm going to rearrange these things later. Okay, this one, let's see. Let's go to the Magic Wand tool. Let's see. If I hold Shift while I'm using the Magic Wand tool, it'll continue to increase the selection. So I'm just going to keep moving in here. I'm not too concerned about this yellow. So I've selected the background. Now I'm going to go select inverse and then mask that. I'm going to go to my Move tool, grab this, and bring it in here. Okay, so I'm going to actually put this in front of the model so it looks like she's behind that. All right. Number 8. Number 8, we're just going to unlock and move over. Okay, and this one needs to get set behind her as well. Okay. And I think I got rid of number 9. All right, we're going to unlock this one, grab this, and drag this over as well. Let's just position this for the moment right there. I've got some other things I'm going to do there. Let's see, that's 10 and 11. For 11, let's go back to the object selection tool. Let's do a big selection. And then we're just going to hit the mask. And let me show you this trick. So I want to flip it around. I can go edit, transform, flip horizontal. Yeah. So now, whoops, whoa, okay. All right, let's zoom in a little bit. So now it's just kind of a matter, let's see, do we have everything in there? Yeah, we've gone through all of it. Here's what the image, here's how I arranged it. Let's go ahead and now it's just a matter of arranging things. So let's grab this flower here. I thought I would go Control T. Here's another option you can do with transformation. If you bring the mouse outside here, you can see this. You can rotate it. If you hold Shift, it'll lock it in the 45 and 90 degree angle. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, just kind of make it look like we've got this bush framing the, the cherry blossoms framing the scene. In that situation, I want to have, all right, let's see. Now let's position her maybe a little bit lower. Let's bring this building down. This can be a lot smaller, Control T. Well, let me give you guys a little pointer here. This right here, let me hover over, when we're on the Move tool, automatically selects the layer that you're on. So if you had this unchecked, you would only be able to move this image, which sometimes is helpful. But you see, when I hover over the model, I want to move her, I can't. So I need to make sure that's turned on if I want to be able to just hover over any layer and then put that right there. Now that I'm going to put beneath this object. You can also click on something, it'll take you to that layer. That's kind of convenient. Okay, so I just made those flowers look like they're behind there. And I think I'm going to reposition, maybe I'll put that up above. Where is this? Okay, maybe I'll put that up above the model. All right, Control T, let's make this a little bit smaller. Flowers in her hair, I'll probably go to my brush on this mask and get rid of the stem there. All right, so we also have this layer here. And I like the flowers here. I want them to be over here. So what I can do is go edit, transform, and flip horizontal. So now they're positioned over there. And one thing I want to do, it's kind of an interesting layer, but I want to soften this edge. So what I can do is apply a layer mask and then go over to my brush, and my mask is white, so I want my foreground color to be black. Let's go over to the brush. Let's make it a real soft brush. We'll put it about 20%. It's going to give it a soft edge. Square brackets will make the brush larger, and I can just kind of come over here and do a nice little sweeping. Actually, Control Z. Let's make an even softer brush. And let's just kind of brush this away. So that way, okay, that's one thing. Let's go over here and let's explore blending these different layers. So that's kind of, actually, that's interesting. You can experiment with it, do what you like. I'd probably spend a little bit more time and tinker with it, but I think for the moment, just to kind of clean things up, finish it, I might leave it right there. So you could move it around, see what you like. But that's basically it. So you're going to be putting all those elements together. I look forward to seeing what kind of different things you guys incorporate in your arrangement. So that is the selection tool project.